So let's see how. Now for the function to return the value back to the action, that is the calling action, the value which is which has to be returned back should be saved in a variable, the name of which should be same as the function name, that is in our case fn login. So suppose fn login is a variable over here. I'm assigning a value 1. Then what will happen is this function will return 1 to the calling action. Now what is the calling action? Calling action is action 1, which is calling this function. So where will it return? It will return to the line number 9 where it was called from. Now since the function is returning the value, the action has to catch that value somewhere, right? It cannot just let go the value. So I'll remove the call and I will catch the value somewhere. Okay, so let's say int val. So int val is a variable equal to my function name. So what this piece of code does is int val equal to function name. It will catch the value which is returned by the function fn login. And what is the value that is returned by fn login? Is 1. Since 1 is assigned to the name of the function, that is fn login. So guys, I guess you're clear with this, right? How the function returns the values. So what we'll do is, now since the value is returned in this variable int val, we can use anywhere in our action. So this information can be really useful, right? Suppose say for example I want to see whether my login is happening successfully or not, and I am using this login in my different parts of my script. Okay, I have to log in again and again, so I've put it in a function, and this function will return back the value. If successful login happens, it will return back value 1. If successful value doesn't happen, it will return value 0. So in this way my action will know whether the login is happening successfully or not. Okay, so now I am having my value value 1 in my int val. I've returned the value. So let's see if we can display it. So what message box int val, so that to display whatever the value is there in the variable int val. So now when I run this, let's again debug from step. Okay, I'll open the flight login window. So as you can see, it is running from line number 9. So now the script will do what it will do is, it will do the same thing. It will pass the values, so Ravi and Mercury. It will these values will be entered. It clicked on OK button. Now the next step is it will return the value 1. So now the int val as the value 1, which is returned back from the function to the action, and now I'll display the value of int val. As you can see, value 1 has been displayed. So my code is working absolutely fine. So what I'll do is I'll show the practical usage of this, because you must be wondering why would function need to acknowledge back to the action. So what I'll do is we can add a conditional statement. Now whenever a login happens successfully, say for example test Mercury, enter, login is happening successfully, and therefore this window opens, flight reservation window. So what we can do is, if this window exists, the login is happening successfully. So we can use the if statement over here, and then we can add this window. So guys, I hope you're practicing with me so that you get a knack of this thing. So this window dot exist. So if this window exists, that means I'm logged in successfully. and therefore login will have value, sorry, fn login will have a value equal to 1. Okay, else I couldn't log in successfully, so the value will be 0. Okay, and therefore int value will have the values accordingly if the login is successful or not. Now my function has returned will return 1 or 0. For successful login it will be 1, for failed login it will be 0. So I can use that in my action. I can use if over here. If my int val, that is the return value, equal to 1, then I can display a message. So suppose in QTP's log I am saying pass, or I would say successful login. Else I would say failed login. So in this way we can print the results. We can in my case what I'm showing is QTP's log, but you can print this results in data table as well. In the previous chapter which we covered, wherein we are taking the values from the action to the data table, so it can be really helpful over here. We can take these value, the messages, successful message or failed message, and we can print back to the Excel sheet. Okay, so the code is complete. So when I run this script, let's see what happens. I'll again run it in debug mode so that you can understand line by line whatever is happening. So my script will as usual put the agent name and password, and it has logged in successfully, right? You can see that flight reservation window screen is opened. So the if part will be executed, not the else part, and one that is the value 1 is returned from the function to the action. So the int value will have value 1, and therefore the if part of the action will run, that is successful login will be displayed.